Do you see what
Hey, I was going to do that.
Should have been a Christmas movie.
Yeah, right? I had that. That was my opening. Fine.
I took it from your brain.
That's
you can
fine.
use it. Go ahead.
No, you just did.
No, I
you
didn't.
see what I say? It works. So, a new Indonesian horror film on Netflix. They love to just drop these randomly. And this one is about a woman. She's 20. It's her 20th birthday.
Yeah.
She goes to visit her parents' grave. And she brings back more with her than sad memories.
Yes.
I liked this one. You know, with Indonesian horror, it's a very tropey subgenre, I guess. The whole country, basically. They make kind of the same movies. I don't know if I've ever seen I'm sure they exist. So please tell me which ones aren't this. But I feel like Indonesian horror is always about the same shit.
A lot of the ones that we watch, like I said, like on Netflix and stuff, maybe it's just the ones that are kind of available in Western countries, I suppose, are like this. But yeah, they are very similar. There's a lot of, which just tells me that there's like, you know, it's just the culture around it. Yeah. But there's a lot of, and it's not that this isn't the case in Western culture, but like, concern over death and like the way that you treat the dead has such an impact in like the ghost and, you know, possession or whatever kind, like the horror movies that we see out of Indonesia are very much centered around that. And we do have it to an extent in the West, but it's it doesn't feel as like prevalent in our horror movies. Yeah. You know? So it is definitely a theme that I think we've found in a lot of these that we've watched.
Yeah, because we just watched Grave Torture. Yeah. And there's actually a very similar aspect with the graves. Yeah. And like wood planks and bodies underneath.
I guess that's like how they buried the dead over there. I don't know.
I don't know
either. We
didn't
look into it, but...
And they also bury bodies together. Mm-hmm. In like they were like, oh, the dad requested to be buried on top of the mom. I've never seen that in an American grave. They're always next to each other. Yeah. Never like in one grave together. I actually kind of like that. You want to be on? You want me to be on top of you?
I'll be on top of you.
We're gonna hash out our positions later.
Just in case.
So, okay, the things that kind of made this go a little over for me when it came to like, you know, it being fairly tropey and very reminiscent of the Indonesian horror that I've watched in the past, which, as I said, it's always like dealing with like either possession, ghosts, and graves is like every one of them. I mean, just every fucking one of them. It's kind of insane. But the things that I did quite like about the movie, number one, I really liked the chemistry between the friends. The friend group felt very authentic to me, and I liked all of the different personalities that each character had and brought to the equation. Yeah. You have and this is set in the 90s. Yeah. It felt more set in the 90s than another movie we just watched that was set in the 90s that I was like, you could have said it was 2024, I would have believed it. Mm-hmm. This one actually somewhat feels like it's in the 90s, and they have a lot of like cultural references, American ones, because of Tupac. But regardless, you have one of the girls who's like obsessed with Tupac. Yeah, it's really cute. And as I said, it is set in the 90s, and their clothing is very American 90s. I don't know what people were wearing in Indonesia. I'm assuming that they also had similar looking clothes, but it looked like they were wearing clothes from the high school I went to in the United States. But I really liked them. I thought that there was good drama and relationship, chemistry and diversity between their personalities. So that was one thing. And then the second thing for me, I actually quite liked the ending. Yeah. I thought it was going to be what it was going to be, and it wasn't. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, wow. That's, all right.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the friend group is really wonderful. I thought they were all very, I was invested in all of them, and I liked their personalities, and I agree. I think the ending is unexpected and a very cool kind of, like, twisty type of thing that happens. For me, I think my gripe with the movie is that, like, the middle half, like, the middle part of it is very repetitive. And that got very tedious and kind of boring after a while. Like, there was a point when we were maybe about halfway through the film that I thought the film was going to be wrapping up, because it kind of felt like it was in the conclusion, but I was like, nothing's really happened as well.
Well, we both were kind of like, well, how are they going to beat this? Because they don't really have any idea.
They don't have any information yet.
It was kind of like, story-wise, it was like, no, this can't be more than
sense,
halfway.
But it was feeling like a sort of a thing. Yeah. It was weird. But I like the opening, and I did really like the ending. I think that there's some creepy stuff as far as the horror goes, especially in the end. One thing that I always really appreciate about
in the graveyard at the end, there's some really cool stuff
about Indonesian horror is that I really like how they do like practical, like, makeup and effects on people. I think that they always do such a good job of making them just look terrifying. Like, they go all out. And so there's some really cool stuff at the end, but for me it's just kind of the middle that I think dragged a bit for me.
Yeah, you're right. The ending, I think the last 15 minutes or so really saved this film.
Yeah.
Because had they not had the creepy factor, some interesting elements added in the end with a kind of paradoxical thing, I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. So, yeah, the ending, and as you said, the beginning worked pretty well, and I was like, okay, this could be this could be a better than usual one, because a lot of these Indonesian and Netflix releases, they always kind of end up the same way for us. We're always kind of like, they were fine.
Yeah, but sometimes we really like them. The other thing too that I think I liked about this is that a lot of the other ones that we watch from, like, East Asia, they tend to deal a lot with family, and this does deal with family, but it's like usually the main people are like, you know, brothers and sisters, or like the parents and the kids or whatever. And this one is very specifically like a friend group, which I found to be kind of refreshing and different. Like, there's still a family aspect to it, of course. It's not that's a bad thing at all, but it's nice that it's like the core group is friends.
Yeah, this is basically set in, like, a sorority.
Yes, yeah, it is. And that was cool. I like the location. That's not something I've seen in any of these movies that we've watched.
They don't return to, like, a village that they grew up in that's away from the big city or something for once.
Yeah, they're just, like, at college, and they live in a sorority, and it's very small. It's, like, just 4 girls or something. And, I don't know if it's a sorority that they would call it, but they live together, and they have, like, a house mother that's, like, taking care of them. And I liked her character, too, and I like all of that. I think that's all really cool, and I think that, one of the main girls in this, I think she gives a pretty creepy performance at times, and so, yeah. It was good. It was a good, pretty entertaining watch for the most part. It's just the middle that, like I've already said, was a bit slow.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's fair. So it is currently streaming on Netflix right now. You don't gotta wait. If you're into those Indonesian ghost films and you want another one that's somewhat decent and is a little better than normal, there you go.
Yeah.
So, all right, let us know. We'll see you in the comments.
Bye.